Hey guys, I'm gonna show you today how to replace the battery, and also a side job would be replacing the thermal paste on the Alienware 15R3 model. Now the customer brought it in for the purpose of changing the battery, and also reported certain issues with the computer, which turned out to be extreme overheating at the CPU level, where the CPU was actually reaching about 91 degrees Celsius, which is very hot. So we're gonna replace the thermal paste and the thermal pads if needed. I'm gonna show you how to do that. So let's dig in. So this is the Alienware. Okay. Now we're gonna turn it upside down, and let me just put the camera okay, for you guys to see. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So we have the computer on its back, and we have a couple screws we have to unscrew. It's just a regular Phillips. So let's see here. All the screws have the same size, so you don't have to remember which screw came from where, except this screw, which actually it has a locking mechanism on the other side, so that one will not come off, but all the other screws, they have exactly the same size. Now with those screws removed, we're going to, hold on, let's see, let me arrange my chair here a little bit. Make sure this is off. With the screws removed, we're just going to lift the back plate just like that, which will expose the insides of the computer. Now if you see just one, yeah, sorry, so I'm back. Before I got this before I shot of the video, I was telling you that they make it actually quite a pain in the neck to have anything replaced in this computer other than the RAM, which is right here, or adding another SSD drive. Even changing the battery, it's actually the battery, you will come under it. Battery is right here, and the SSD is on top of it. Now as you see, there is a shield, a black shield here, which will have to be completely removed in order to reach to the battery or reach to any of the other components like the graphic card or the CPU right here. So without further ado, let's start. Okay, let's start from the right side. So we're gonna remove the hard drive caddy. Some of you might have an actual hard drive in here. We're gonna remove that. Okay, so this is removed. For those of you who have an actual hard drive in this location, don't just yank it out, slowly lift it, and you'll see you have a cable right here, which will have to be disconnected. Is this guy right here. The way you disconnect it, you just pull upwards on that. Okay. Now let's move forward. We're gonna disconnect the cables the last. First we're gonna remove all the screws. Okay, so we have one screw here, one under the lower RAM slot. Then we're gonna remove the SSD drive. Okay, let me just close the door. Okay, somebody's exercising guitar next to me, so okay. Now we're gonna remove the other screw. Then you have one right here by the connector of the SSD. Yeah, you're gonna spend a lot of time removing screws from this fella, but yeah, it's not as complicated as it might look first. Okay, then we have a screw right there. And since you're doing that, this might be a good time to actually give your computer a good clean. That means your fans and everything else inside. Okay. Now we'll have to remove this screw by the Wi-Fi card. And remember, you need a tweezer here to lift. Let me zoom in. You have these antenna cables. Lift upwards on the connector itself, not on the cable, just like that, upwards, because if you pull on the cable you're gonna rip it apart, and that's a pain to actually have it replaced. You're gonna pull the Wi-Fi card out. Okay, I had to cut the movie again. This is the continuation of the replacing the battery into this Alienware. So with all the screws removed on the back side of the computer, we're just gonna disconnect the cables. Well, not all the screws are removed, but let's finish this side first, and then I'm gonna show you what other screws have to be removed in order to get to the battery. So you noticed you're noticing this type of connectors. Now what these connectors actually are, okay, let's see if you can see. It's basically, you'll have to lift, preferably with your nails, just slowly lift the white tab up and then just lift the cable. You don't want to lift it up too much or put too much pressure on it, because this will come off of the actual connector and you might have problems putting it back. Okay, so slowly lift it up, then take the cables out. Okay, you have one more here, okay, which is right next to the battery connector. Okay, gonna remove this. Now the battery itself, you see the battery cable, it has a little tape on it. You can just pull on it just like that, and the battery is out. Now you see here on the side these are the connecting cables for the so-called Tron lights. It clearly says there, yeah, it's the lights which are on the side of the case. So we're gonna remove that one out as well. Slowly lift it up, and we have to take it out from okay, remove it from this things right here, and let's see what other cables. We have the keyboard cable right here. Okay, sorry about that. Keyboard cable, it's out. Then we have the other lights, okay, which are right there. So let's remove that one as well. So it looks like all the screws are removed on this side. Now you see, you still cannot lift this piece. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna flip it just like that, and you're gonna notice that there are two screws right here. Okay, so we're gonna remove those screws. Okay. And now this piece should be able to, hold on, let me show it to you. I don't know how much you're gonna see. My goal is to make you see everything, but sometimes because of the angle it might not be possible. So we're gonna lift this piece just like that, push it towards outside, okay, and this piece will come off, okay, which will expose a couple more screws which you have to remove. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3 screws right here. Okay, one is really tight here. Okay, that really doesn't want to come out. Now if you guys see that the video was cut, it's just because I'm within the regular business hours and I have either people coming in or other computers I have to take care of, so this is more like a side project which I actually started it last night. I didn't get a chance to finish it, but anyways, I'm gonna try to make it today. Okay, so let's see, we got those 3 screws removed, and let's see if there are any other screws. We have actually the LCD here, which does not have to be removed for what we're gonna do. So yeah, this should be it. Now let's see if this will pop up. So we're gonna open the computer, something like that. We're gonna put the pry tool right here, okay, and we're just gonna work our way on the sides. Okay. Okay. And we're gonna move on the side of the computer slowly. Okay, we can see the top case actually coming loose. Okay, if you feel any resistance anywhere, it means that there might still be a screw. You might have omitted a screw. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, as you see, it is coming apart. It's still being held. Let's see, let's just pull this cable, the Tron light. Okay, we're gonna put it out of there and out of there, and we're gonna take the Wi-Fi cables out, and that should be pretty much it. I don't see what else it's being held on. Okay, that's that. Okay, well, I guess we have to take these lights off altogether, so because otherwise we can only flip the back of the computer. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to completely remove it, so I have the freedom to work without any restraints. Okay, so now it's off. Okay, so now we have access to the battery. Okay, this is the battery, okay, which has 1 screw here, and it should lift right up. Okay, so this battery is a bad one. If you need to see the model number, type it. Let's see if you can see, it's type 44T2R, 68 watts an hour. There's a standard one. They come with an extended battery. Let me just grab my new battery, and let's see, bear with me for a second. I should have taken the new battery out of its packaging, but and here we go. We have the new battery, same 68 watts an hour. It's a standard one. Again, if you have the chance to find the extended one, they will give you a little extra juice. That would be fine. Now, we're not gonna skip this part if you're only interested to see how the battery has to be removed from this Alienware. What I'm going to do now, I'm also gonna remove the fans, give them a good clean, and reapply the thermal paste under the graphics card and the CPU, because I was getting some overheating issues. So we're gonna start with the left fan. Okay. Being held together by two screws right there. Okay, you see this particular computer has a lot of garbage caught up there. This one obviously will make the computer not being able to breathe properly. Okay, so all this stuff has to go out. And let's see what's under the fan number 2, the fan on the right, which is cooling the CPU. We're not going to completely remove the fan because the fan connectors are on the other side of the logic board, of the motherboard, so I don't want to open that much. I mean, for this particular project is not even needed actually to be completely removed. Okay, so sorry, let me get so under here, that's also a lot of gunk, as you see. Okay, I'm gonna take care of it in a second. Now let me show you how to remove the heatsink. It's very simple. You can ignore the numbers here, but just for the sake of it, we're gonna do it in the right order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are used for actually a guidance for when you're actually reapplying the heatsink. Okay. Now, what I'm mostly interested, I'm gonna change the thermal paste under on top of both CPU and GPU. But what I'm more interested is the GPU paste. See how it will look, because the GPU was having some crazy values in terms of heat. Graphic card was actually rather fine. So let's see here. And yes, both fans were spinning at the right RPM, so it's not a problem with one of the fans being bad. Okay, now we're just gonna lift the heatsink up. And what we're gonna do now, they're gonna take a little brush and we're gonna clean this part right here. You can take a can of compressed air and give it a good clean. I'm gonna do this off camera because I have my compressor, it's on the side. So first I'm going with the brush, and then I'm gonna use the compressor to blow the dust from there. So it looks a little bit better. You can actually see through it. Now, what I was interested, as I said, was the CPU paste, and the CPU paste here, it's actually quite hard. So we're gonna clean the CPU and the graphic card paste. Don't touch those ones. Those are thermal pads. Okay, which are cooling these components here. They most of the time they don't need to be replaced unless the computer was subjected to extensive heat. So let's see. We're gonna clean this first with. We're gonna scrape it off with a plastic tool, whatever you have at your disposal, and then I'm going to clean it up with some alcohol. So I'm just gonna put this in the garbage, the old thermal paste. Okay, gonna scrape it really good. Okay, actually let me show you, because then you're gonna say, oh, I didn't show us how to do it. It's basically just a good old scraping. Okay, just like this, followed by a good clean. I use, as I always show in my videos, I'm using denaturated alcohol for any electronic cleaning needs. It's a very, very reliable type of alcohol. Evaporates very fast, it leaves no watermarks or anything like that. Cheaper than isopropyl alcohol, and I do believe that for where I'm using it, actually does a better job than isopropyl. Okay, so we're gonna take this and we're gonna clean up. Okay, go in circles. Okay, and you might have to switch the side of the napkin. Okay, because when the thermal paste accumulates on one side, it's not gonna properly remove whatever is left there. Okay, this is how it's supposed to be looking after you're done cleaning, so make sure you don't leave any old thermal paste in there. Okay, and now we're gonna move to the CPU side. Just need to put a little bit more alcohol. Okay, we're gonna thin it. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Okay. Circular motion. And we're gonna put a little bit more alcohol. Let's see here. Okay. And there you have it. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna remove the thermal paste from the GPU and the CPU. For that I'm gonna use a toothbrush. Okay, and just go into circular motion. Okay, just like that. The most important piece you'll have to have clean, it's actually the die of the chip, which is just the mirror looking part of the CPU and GPU. Okay, and we're gonna use a little bit of alcohol. Let's just get the alcohol out. Okay, and I would be concentrating on the die part, as I said, of the chip, not on the surroundings. Do not try to scrape it with anything, doesn't matter if it's a plastic or metal or anything like that. Why? Because I don't know if you can see, especially on the graphics card, you have a bunch of components which you can knock off the board. Onto the CPU, there are no caps, no anything next to it, so you can easily scrape it first. Okay, so remember the CPU is the chip onto the right hand side. Okay, right on top of the RAM. Okay. And this stands for the Alienware 15R3 only, because some CPUs will have components on the back side of it, so scraping it could potentially damage it. Okay. And now we're gonna take all this. Okay. Now, you can, I mean, I would recommend you to use, I'm not gonna mention certain brands, I mean, usually Arctic, it's a very good thermal compound. The way you do it is just a small line onto the GPU side, okay, and one dab right here in the middle for the CPU. Don't overdo it. More is not always better, especially when it comes to the thermal paste. It is not better. Okay. Now we're gonna see if these ones, yeah, they still have oil on them, so they're good. The thermal pads, no need to be replaced. So now we're gonna put it. By the way, remember to clean your fans as well, which is what I did before. And okay, let's move it out of the way. And we're going to sit it. Oh, come on, just like this. And before you start to put the screws, just move it. Hold on, let me zoom out. Just move it just like that a little bit. Okay. So the thermal paste, and the thermal paste, once you put the screws, is going to flatten and go wherever it's supposed to be going. So we're gonna put the screws back on the CPU side first. Then we move to the GPU side. Okay, and now with this one set up, I'm gonna blow the dust one more time from it. I'm gonna do it with the compressor. And there it goes. Yeah, that's about it. Now we're gonna put back the battery. Okay. Which is held here by one screw. Gonna put back the screws for the fans. Okay. And now I'm gonna put back the top case. Okay. Now we gotta pull the Wi-Fi cables. Let's see if you guys can see it. Okay, the Wi-Fi cables will have to come through this hole. So just grab the cables and thread them through this hole, through this cut here. Okay, and remember to also put on each side put back these light connectors. Okay. Oh, come on. One there and one on the other side. Okay. And now try to fit the connector. Oh, hold on, I'm going to show you on this side. The light connector, you will have to put it into that hole right there. Okay, just like that. And that's it. Now we can push. Oops. Okay, we can, hold on. Let's zoom out so you can see. Once you have those two connectors, make sure you pull them out so it's not going to interfere. Pull the battery connector through this hole right here. Okay, and we can just simply push the top case down. Okay, that's that. Now we're gonna pull all these ribbon cables. We're gonna pull it through their designated slots. Okay, because they will have to go back into those connectors. Keyboard. Okay, what else? What else? That's good. This is good. So let's connect the cables first. Okay, so we're gonna start from the right hand side. We're gonna connect the Tron connector. Okay. You'll have to put it through this little like this, through those guides or whatever you might want to call them. I don't know how exactly they're called. Okay. I will keep it nice and arranged. It's not gonna interfere with anything. And we're gonna just take it to the tweezer and just push it downwards. Okay, make sure it's set in there. Okay, then we're gonna do this little cable. Okay, so make sure give me 1 second, let me close the door. Make sure that this tab is lifted, okay, so you can insert this cable, well, not this, I mean this cable and the other cables as well. So we're gonna put it in like that, push on it, make sure it's all the way in, and now you're gonna push on the actual connector, which is gonna lock that cable in there. We're not gonna hook up the battery just yet. Okay, we're gonna keep it out. The battery is gonna be the last one we're connecting. Okay, we're gonna move to the next cable. Okay, let me see, where are we? Okay, we're gonna put this guy in, push it all the way in, then put the tab, and we're gonna do keyboard light. Let's see here. That's in. Okay. And we move to the keyboard connector. Push the tab. Okay. And then on this side we're gonna reroute the light cable like we did on the other side as well. Okay. And we're gonna pop it in just like this. Okay, now that's that. Now we're gonna put back the SSD. Okay, the SSD will go right here, and we're gonna put the one screw back, and we're gonna put the Wi-Fi card. Okay, now the Wi-Fi card goes in here. We're gonna route the cables of the Wi-Fi just like that, and we're gonna connect the cables, the antenna cables basically. Black it's on the side, white it's closer to the screw. I mean, you can clearly see it marked on the Wi-Fi card itself. And now we're gonna take this retaining piece, okay, and now we can put all the other, we can start to put the screws back in. So we're gonna put the back ones, the 3 ones, right, because we have to put that plastic mesh on top of it. So not a mesh, but this piece I'm talking about. Okay, so first we'll do those 3 screws. Okay, now we're gonna take this one and we're gonna just slide it just like this. Okay, we're gonna put these 2 screws back on. So okay, now we're gonna put all the other screws. So good thing about the other screws is that most of the positions are marked. I mean, the positions are marked. It should say M2.5XL8 and it has an arrow next to it. So just gonna put them back in. Okay. There's that. I'm just trying to see if I missed any of them. One right here in the middle by the RAM. Okay. Now we're gonna put back, what is it? The hard drive connector. Okay. And we're gonna do the hard drive caddy, or in some instances, as I mentioned, some of you guys might have an actual hard drive here. Okay, this computer did not come with a hard drive, just an empty caddy. Put back the screws. Now, for the battery, the way you hook it up. Let me zoom on it, and actually I'm going to show you on the old one, or why should I do it on the old one? Let me do it on the new one, because I don't want you to put it in the wrong way. Now, as you see, at this connector, it will have a ridge. You see it right here? This piece right here should be on the bottom, not on the top. This should be onto the bottom. So basically, we're gonna bend the cable just like this, right? It's like a U bend, okay? And we're gonna push it. You see how the old one is the connector? Okay, so that's what we do with the new one, and we're just going to push it right in there. Okay. And once it's in, we're just gonna push it with our nails all the way in. Make sure. Okay, this is how it should look, pretty much, you see. Now the battery is in. We're gonna put back the back case. Okay. The way you put this one, you wanna slide. See, this has a little tabs, which they should go down here first. Then you push it down, you close this one screw here, and then you finish it by putting back the other, well, 6 screws. Now, as with any other computer which has a new battery, what you have to do is make sure that you fully charge the battery, and then discharge it to about 20%. That's called you're calibrating the battery. And yeah, otherwise the battery will not actually last you. Now I made a mistake here. You see, I put a screw into the hard drive caddy which should not be there. So yeah, please pay attention. I did make this mistake, which we're gonna fix it actually right now. So this screw does not belong here. Okay. Now we're gonna put back the case, and I can put all the other screws. Okay. So yeah, please remember that about the battery. fully charge and let it go down to about 20-15% for about 5 or 6 times. Okay, if you want the battery to last. Okay. And the last screw, and this is that. Okay. I don't know how much juice, if this battery has any juice in it, as the customer actually ordered it sometime in August of last year, so she only brought it to me yesterday, so most likely the battery had very little juice, if any, left. We're gonna put it to charge right now, and yeah, that's about it. As you see, the battery is charging. You see the Alienware head logo glowing. Okay, the computer is turning on. Okay, so yeah, you have the Alienware logo, and that's about it. So with that said, I really do hope so that I helped you in some way, that this video you'll find it useful. Please leave any comments in the comments list right there down the video, and like the video or subscribe to my channel, where I'm trying to add as many videos as possible, as much as time allows me. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and yeah, like and subscribe. Take care.